What's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another edition of Ask PJ Braun here at Blackstone Labs headquarters.
What's up?
And we have quite a long first question in front of us. I think we're just going to dive right into this one.
Do it.
No banter in the beginning.
No banter. Banter free. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
It says, what's up, PJ? Holy shit, I can't believe the Lord himself is listening to my question and hopefully about to answer it. Man, you're a badass. Thank you for being you. My question is about getting put on TRT. I'm 29 years old. My weight is 182. I'm 5'7" and probably like 16% body fat. I started feeling symptoms of low T a couple years ago, but this year was recently where it really got to the point that I can't take it anymore, and my hopes of my natty test levels coming back are out of the question. I feel tired as fuck all the time, and I'm not in a good state of mind. I feel negative all the time, mostly moody. I can't get hard for shit. I've lost all interest in sexual pleasure. I'm fully content with my recent breakup and not at all interested in jumping back into a new one. That's how fucked up I am. Never have I ever thought like this. I guess all the years of using pro hormones did a number on me. To be exact, I did about 2 to 3 cycles each year since I was 22, and out of those years in between, I did 2 actual test cycles, where my first cycle was 24 was test E 500 milligrams a week and trend E 200 milligrams a week for 12 weeks, and my second steroid cycle at 27 just did test E at 500 milligrams a week for 12 weeks. So with me feeling the way I do in life, there has been and it feels like the life has been sucked out of me. I'm tired, moody, negative, can't fuck, don't want to even try. My strength in the gym is declining with each workout I do. I feel weaker and weaker, and for all that I've been diagnosed in depression, after all that, I've been diagnosed with depression. The doctor tried to prescribe me antidepressants and Viagra, and I gave that a try because the doctor's supposed to be right. I tried the antidepressants, didn't do shit, still the same symptoms, still got tired of feeling sick and tired and feeling so hopeless all the damn time, and came to a conclusion that I'm depressed because my test levels are so low. It's making me feel depressed. So with this year being the worst and the symptoms outweighing my well-being of life, I got bloods done about 2 weeks ago and got a call from my doctor saying that they are referring me to an endocrinologist because I am low. I don't understand the lab work on the paper except for the words testosterone serum, which is 125 out of 264 and 916, and free testosterone, which is 1.3, and T4 free, which is 1.24, and my TSH, which is 0.431. I'll try to attach my labs in a photo so you can see the numbers for yourself and let me know if I'm for sure going to need to get on TRT. I have a few questions.
Yes, already, but these numbers are shitty.
My question is, does this prove I have low T, and does this mean that I'm going to get put on TRT? And my other question is, instead of going to see an endocrinologist, I made the decision to go see a urologist. Instead, I've made an appointment with him next week. I feel that they would be more open-minded and likely to help me instead of trying out 100 things before they put me on TRT. I'm sorry, but I don't have any more extra time. I've been dealing with this long enough, and I'm tired of my life sucking and never wanting to get out of bed. My other question, what if they try to put me on Nova or Clomid to try to get my levels up? I don't know that I want to get put on TRT because it's going to work and fix the problem and stop these horrible symptoms. My last question, probably the most important, should be, should I be open to all my pro hormone and test E trend cycles to my doctor? Or do you think I should not disclose that info because it will open up another can of worms that will make him more untrusting and unlikely to prescribe me TRT because he's going to think that I'm just there to get steroids and therefore ruining my chances and adding of getting prescribed and have to add a couple more years of feeling like shit. Thank you, PJ. I know this was long as shit, but thank you to take the time out of your day to do this for me. It means a lot, especially with the way I've been feeling. I know you've been there before and can kind of feel what I've been going through. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, your testosterone is really low. Your estrogen's probably in the ratio to your testosterone sucky, and that's why you feel that way. It's a pretty textbook case, and you should always tell your doctor everything, because once you tell him all the stuff that you did, he's going to realize that you screwed yourself up, and that's how you fix it. So be honest. You'll get on some testosterone. You'll feel better.
This next one says blood work. It says, hello, PJ and Blackstone Labs team. I hope you guys are doing well. My question to PJ is, I started TRT 2 months ago. The doctor put on Nebido, test depot 1 gram per 4 milliliters. Then a booster shot a month after I took a blood test 3 weeks after the second injection and compared both results as you see below. First injection 3 weeks after my injection. Lipid and thyroid profile is normal. My question is why my free test isn't high above average. Is it too soon to judge? Is there something else I'm missing? I don't feel any difference in the gym. Sex is just a tad better than before. Mood and energy too. Should I ask the doctor to decrease the injection time between my injections? My next injection is after 10 weeks. What should be done to improve the free T? Thanks a lot, PJ. And those are his points.
Let's look at this. Well, I mean, only 3 weeks after your second injection, I mean, your test total actually went up a lot. Your test total to start was 201, which is terrible, and then it was 745, which is really good. You're at the high end of normal. Usually, if you're going weekly and getting weekly injections, you'll be around 1,000, 1,100, which is ideal. That's a great bodybuilding number to be at safely. So your actual testosterone numbers went up a lot. The free testosterone went up too. It went up too. I mean, he only did 2 shots. It's not going to go through the roof.
Skyrocket.
I don't understand why he's doing the protocol that he's doing as far as the way he's spacing it out. The best thing to do is just be able to get it on where you're administering it yourself once a week. Then you'll be high in both, and you won't have to worry about anything.
This next one reads, I've got a question. Hi, PJ. I have a hard time swallowing pills, and I was just wondering if it would be okay to break open my pills and mix them in a protein shake. One example would be Recomp or Orthobolic. Would it be okay to break that one open and mix it with a shake? Thank you for taking the time to answer my question, Brad.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. They just don't taste good.
Not going to be very tasty, and you're juiced up. And speaking of contest evaluation, what do people mean when they say conditioning, flat, separation, and etc.?
Well, I mean, these are terms that most of us that have been around competing or have competed are going to use. And when you get to a certain level of body fat where you can kind of see everything on your body, maybe not necessarily like a bodybuilding level, you kind of get a good feel for how your body looks when it's full versus flat. And so when you're full, that's when you've eaten enough to where your muscles feel like they can pump up really easily and they're pushing through your skin. Where when you're flat, it usually comes from not eating enough carbohydrates. Sometimes it comes from not drinking enough water. Simple as that. I've had people where they were, getting ready for a show and they're like, I'm flat. I'm like, go back and drink 32 ounces and start all over again. And they'd come back and they'd be like, oh my God, I'm full now. It's amazing. All I did was drink water. And you need the water to be pumping into your muscles if you're going to fill out. So as far as separated, that's usually a matter of condition plus fullness. So when you diet down really, really hard, you can just keep eating less and less and less and lose weight and get skinnier. But if you're not feeding the muscles properly where they stay full and push out through the skin, you're not going to have the same separation, which is going to make you look flatter, which is going to in turn make you look softer because you don't have all this hard muscle popping out through the skin. So just terms that we use, based on how we've seen ourselves, at different weights and different looks. Some people that have dieted down to shows at 235 might tell you, at 235 I look really hard and lean, but at 245 I'm full, but I'm a little too soft still, and my separation comes out more as I get closer to that weight. So it's just things that we use on ourselves when we've learned our bodies a lot.
I think it also comes from a feeling. Like you can't really describe how you're feeling other than like, instead of feeling round, I feel flat.
Yeah.
I feel like I
it
could
is a
be
lot
rounder.
Psychological too.
Yeah, it's more so a feeling of it's not like somebody looked at somebody and were like, you look flat like a wall.
Well, when you look flat, only an expert will notice that.
Right.
When you feel flat, you're going to notice it because nothing happens when you're pumping up and posing.
You're like, usually after 5 or 6 sets of bicep curls, my arms feel round and full, and now they're not.
I've had that happen at shows before. It sucks bad. I've been backstage where I was super lean, but it came in so flat that nothing was happening, and I was like, no, I hope they don't care about muscles being pumped up at this one.
I hope they don't care about having muscles. All right, this next one says, Anogenin equals Anavar? ? I've seen articles come across my news feed stating the harmful effects of laxagenin supplements because they convert to Anavar in the body and lead to dangerous side effects. The only side effects I've heard from laxagenin is a headache if you take too much. So since you're a supplement wizard, or should I say a supplement lord, can you shed any info on this? Does laxagenin convert to Anavar in the body? Are there potentially any harmful sides? And if so, at what dose? And since actual Anavar is regarded as one of the better cutting drugs, would it be advantageous to use laxagenin long-term while dieting down? As always, you are a generous lord above men, and we are all grateful for your I'm not even going to attempt it, of information to us down here in the masses. Fluff.
Well, Fluff, for starters, it does not convert into Anavar. That's hilarious. Also, Anavar is not the actual chemical name. It's oxandrolone. Anavar is actually, the name Anavar is owned by Jared Wheat, my partner. And he has a product that's literally called Anavar.
But it is not actually Anavar.
No, because Anavar is actually oxandrolone.
Right.
And that is Inception. But it is, people compare it to Anavar because they don't know what else to compare it to, and people know that Anavar is a good steroid. And so people are always trying to compare stuff to steroids. Now, I do think that laxagenin is good. We have our product, Anogenin. Guys, I have found that you need way more than girls. Girls, you can get away with taking 1 or 2 caps a day. That's 50 milligrams if you're doing 2. But ladies, you can take 100 milligrams no problem. Most of the study on laxogenin is at a 100 milligram dose. I've also seen studies at a 200 milligram dose, which means you'll be doing 8 Anogens a day. Now, guys, if you're really pushing it and you want to maximize like what you can get naturally off of a strong product, by all means, do that. Keep on buying specifically Anogenin from Blackstone Labs too, because you're going to blow through that stuff fast. But no, it doesn't convert into Anavar. You have to worry about any side effects from that.
All right, next one comes from our boy Harridad, girl man, I should say.
Good, man.
Says, hi, Josh and PJ. PJ, please don't get angry. He. I simply noticed the your/than for some time and mentioned it, but as I said, I think you have a rich, juicy mind and kind heart. No one behind Harridav persona has English as first language. It was my third language, so I try to speak it as good as possible, even when speaking in Genovese, which is why our English is very imperfect. Thank you for constant compliments on my intelligence. Coming from you means a lot. My question is, what do you perceive as traits of intelligence? What do you think intelligence is? Do you think intelligence and or its traits can be improved? And if so, how? It might sound like a silly question, but you have brought up comedic ability as a big sign of intelligence, and I think there are dumb people with doctorates and dumb people who think they're artists, but they're just unemployed, LOL. Question for Coach Josh. PJ and Lady Salvania, as well as Coach K, also said yes to collab. Would you be interested in making a cameo as well? If any of your active, passionate Legion athletes ever could benefit from the engagement of that being in a Harridav video can bring them, please let me know. I've been blessed by collabs from people like Lowbliner, Jerry Ward, Martina Marcota, England Tensity, PJ, and now even a sitting senator isn't interested, so I'm always looking to try and pay back the universe's blessings.
What senator?
Lots of love to you. Thank you very much for all these answers. They are gold to the mind. And yes, I definitely am down to make a quick little cameo as long as I can agree to whatever I'm doing beforehand. I think I could oblige.
You got to spell it out for him first.
Yeah.
So, well, for starters, I know a lot of dumb people with college degrees. So a lot of people, for some reason, the older generation measures a lot on a college degree. But some of my dumbest friends have college degrees, and some of my smartest friends do not. So that certainly is an indicator. And yeah, I have met dumb doctors too. But they just happen to be good in school and were able to pass enough tests and learn about that one particular subject of the human body or a specific part of the human body on a level that, they understood. And this is going to take me to the IQ test. There's a reason why they utilize IQ testing. So your IQ doesn't measure how smart you are. It is a measuring of your ability to understand. And the higher your IQ is, the more ability you have to understand things. And that's a very simple layman's way to describe what that IQ test is. So somebody with a very high IQ of 140 is considered genius-like. And I'm going to dazzle you all with, they tested me in 6th grade at 137. And they told my parents that the reason I was bad in school was because I was too intelligent and that I was bored in class, and because of it I was acting out because I was getting done with my work so fast. They talked about skipping me a grade, and my mom didn't want me to because I was already a fat dork and for certain was going to get picked on and bullied being a fat dork that was younger than everybody else. So I stayed a fat dork in the 6th grade and actually wasn't not a fat dork until 8th grade. So I had a couple more dorky years with some big glasses and a lot of sweatpants to go.
Big glasses
and sweatpants. But that was okay. Because I had the ability to understand a lot of different things, which is also why I think you guys enjoy listening to this show, because I can answer questions fairly easy on all of your different subjects. I think that is the greatest indicator of a person's intelligence. Usually somebody that has a higher IQ has the ability to understand different types of jokes, can probably listen to different types of music, can figure out certain things like basic tricks to getting a car to drive better, to, I don't know, cutting some origami if they've got a little bit of artistic ability. Do you cut origami? No, you just bend shit up, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe you have to cut it before you bend it.
That all goes into IQ as well, because you have to understand where you're cutting and bending. And
you don't want to bend where you're supposed to cut and cut where you're supposed to bend, because then that's not going to end up looking very good.
I do find that most comedians, even the ones that use being dumb as part of their shtick, they're so well thought out that there's a great deal of intelligence that goes into that, because a lot of them are taking regular life scenarios that we get and exposing like the hilarious side to them, like
the small nuances everybody doesn't pick up on, that once it's put in front of your face, you're like, oh wow, that is actually hilarious.
For sure. I mean, like I think Jim Jeffries is hilarious, and you can tell he's an intelligent guy.
I love Jim Jeffries.
Like just the stuff that he does on like religion and stuff like that. Like he's just a very, very funny way to look at many things. A lot of people find him offensive, but he knows that he's being offensive, and that makes it even funnier.
Yep.
So
I think actually I've heard a comedian say before about intelligence that like you don't really understand any topic that you can't explain to a 5-year-old and have them understand it afterwards. You don't really get it. If you can't tell it to a 5-year-old and have them be like, oh, well, that makes sense, because how would you break it down in most layman's terms?
And I try to laymanize everything for everyone, and it was actually David, who's highly intelligent, who was our vice president here, who told me one day, he was like, you're really good at explaining things. And I told him, I was like, I try to explain things like as if I'm teaching a 5-year-old to figure it out. So when I do my like workout videos for you guys, I feel like people consistently say like, oh, I understand this exercise better now that you explained it that way. And that is very, very important for what we do. So if we weren't doing this, if we were doing like Legos, I would say, listen, you're going to take this piece right here and you're going to put it like this because this is what you're going to get in the end. And I would make you understand why you're going to be putting these pieces together, just because that's the way that I approach things. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about why I'm smarter than everybody. I mean, you guys have already figured that out a while ago. That's why I'm the one answering your questions and not vice versa. But
maybe we should do that.
Wanna?
I don't know. Should we? Is that just asking for it?
It's just opening up the biggest can of worms ever. Can o legion worms.
All right. So the next question is about Sustanon.
Good old Sustanon.
Hey, what's your opinion on Sustanon for HRT? What dose would you run? If not, what's a good Sustanon cycle for leaning? Thanks, Frank.
I feel that Sustanon is nothing more than like a marketing ploy, and that is very overrated. People like it because they're like, oh, it's 4 things in one.
It almost makes a 5th thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first time I ever had somebody tell me what Sustanon was or try to get me to buy a bottle of Sustanon, they were like, look, it's 4 different types of tests, and it kind of creates a 5th. Because all 4 are in there together, it's like, oh, there could be a 5th one in there, one that you don't know about, and that's what makes it so much better.
And I was like, marketing. Yes, dude, yes. That's marketing right there.
That makes so much sense. There's 4. There has to be a 5th one being created on its own in the bottle, in this little ecosystem of test in there.
It's the perfect storm for creating something that we don't even know about.
Doesn't exist.
So I hate to break people's bubbles on this one, and then I'll actually get into the specifics of it. Testosterone is testosterone. So if you're doing 250 milligrams of Sustanon versus 250 milligrams of cypionate versus 250 milligrams of enanthate, you're still doing 250 milligrams of testosterone, no matter what. Now, the molecular weight is different because there's different esters that are added on to make these testosterone depots release at different rates in your body. The molecular weight of cypionate and enanthate are the closest. And if you remove the cypionate molecule as well as the enanthate molecule, the weight of the testosterone, don't quote me all the way on this, is I believe 70 or 72 on one and 72 or 74 on the other. Testosterone propionate, which I hate, which a lot of people are like, oh, it's not as strong. You're only doing 100 milligrams. I'm like, well, yeah, you're only doing 100 milligrams. But if you all of a sudden do 250, you're actually getting the most non-estered testosterone because it has a heavier molecular weight. I believe it is 76, so it's slightly more. So if you're actually doing X amount of cc's, you're getting more out of it. But at the end of the day, it all is testosterone, guys. So blending up 4, it's like if you went to like 4 different gas stations and you're like, I'm going to put a little bit of this gas, a little bit of this, and just sprinkle in maybe like some 93 octane at the end, you're still just filling up your gas tank. You're not going to get extra miles out of it.
I think
one of the miles maybe you'll drive a little bit faster for a day.
I think the best way to give an example is like those different esters, the different times is like if you were to just do like suspension, like you could do 200 milligrams of suspension and it's done that day versus doing 200 milligrams of enanthate, which is going to break down over time.
And suspension is actually suspended in water, so there's no ester to slow it down. So that's pure testosterone. So when you do 100 milligrams, you're actually getting straight 100 milligrams.
But again, no ester, still just test.
Yep.
Not any different than the test E that has the ester. It's just releasing at a different time.
Absolutely. I've been getting the Sustanon questions for years, and I figured this out when I was like 25. I'm like, so it's all just testosterone. What does it matter?
Like, it's all
Because
test.
people would be like, bro, I got this new stuff called T400.
Sustanon 9000.
When you do it, it's so good that it triples the size of your ass after you shoot it. I'm like, I feel like that's not good.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all.
I had this kid Jay. He would come into the gym like limping, and he'd be like, bro, shit's fucking sick.
5 cc's.
And he'd be like, look at my leg, and there'd be like grapefruit-sized welts on his leg, and he'd be like, it's so strong. And I'd be like, that is not because it's strong. That is because it's burning your muscles off.
It's so strong I can't walk.
You're like poisoning your muscles with that shit.
How does it feel? Kind of sick.
It's so strong that I have 103 fever.
I'm sweating a lot. Oh, man. Next one says, hey, PJ, I need your help. I have a little brother that is 16 and has been working out for a couple of years, plays football, is active, and looks good for his age. I know he's an idiot for starting to take HGH. He really thinks it will help him grow taller and build more lean muscle. He does not listen to me on how stupid it is for him to take that at such a young age.
Why?
He knows I've taken some gear on and off, but I've always explained that I didn't start my cycles until I was 22. He will not listen to me at all. I feel if it comes from someone like you that he will listen. Big fan. Have followed you for years, man. Love all the free information you give freely and how real you are. Thanks, Johnny.
Johnny, how the hell is he getting HGH? I have a hard time getting HGH.
And at 16, I mean, what is this kid's bank account like?
He's first of all, I need to know what he's paying. I wish that you included that in there because I'd tell you right from the payment part of it how fake it is on a scale of 1 to 10.
I mean, like, I'm not playing football for my high school or anything, but it's not even financially a thing
Yeah,
for me to think about taking.
Does he have a crazy allowance?
Yeah, like.
Ask your mom if she wants to adopt any kids.
Yeah.
I'll come over for a while. I'll get you guys real. Nah, I can't even joke about stuff like that.
Oh, man, we're going to have to cut that part out.
Yeah.
No.
Obviously a joke, guys.
Oh, no.
This goes back to the whole intelligence question.
Here we go. We're going to get 1,000 DMs about that. So, you said in the podcast.
Where the hell at 16 years old are you getting GH? Did he Google it?
Is this, like, real? Like, can this be real?
If he is ordering anything online, I promise it's fake. And if he's getting anything from a fellow high schooler, that's got to be fake too, unless it's one of those kids that has like a growth issue that like is prescribed growth hormone to fix his actual growing. And they do actually do that. I actually went to school with a kid whose brother was like miniature.
Yeah.
Until he was a senior in high school. He was like this little miniature person. And not miniature like that little Indian guy that I've been talking about lately. Do you know the guy I'm talking about? I feel like Trevor will know. He's been in some rap videos. That tiny little Indian man. He's like the smallest man in the world. He's a tiny little man. He's amazing. He like lifts weights.
Did he die?
Oh, did he die?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm sorry. That's really sad. I
Damn.
loved that little man.
I didn't even get to know him.
He was. We have to bring him out. We're gonna Google him after this. There's like little pictures of him curling like 1 pound dumbbells, and they're like big in his hands. He's been in somebody's rap video. Anyway, he was like that almost. And then they put him on a very aggressive growth hormone protocol because his growth plates were still open. And they basically gave him like full bottles of Serostim. I think it was once every 26 days for like X amount of time, the whole bottle.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's designed to be done, like with children like that.
Right.
And at the end of it, he was like 5'8", 5'9". Like he was pretty like normal sized. Wasn't giant or anything like that, but he wasn't a tiny miniature man. Did you find him? Yes, dude. That is him. Yo, how awesome would it be to hang out with him?
I don't know if I'd be scared. That's like scary.
I would not be scared.
That's like
I would carry him around
in your pocket.
Look, there he is next
He's
to somebody.
barely knee height.
Look at his most muscular.
Jeez.
Look at his little knees. I love that he has bleach blonde hair.
Goodness gracious, I was not expecting
What
that.
country is he from? Like Pakistan or something? Or is it actually India maybe?
I actually had a buddy that was well, actually he was my buddy's little brother that his name was Scotty Jacobs.
Scotty Jacobs.
And little Scotty Jacobs was just too little. And so his doctors prescribed him growth hormone for a couple of years. And he's still the littlest motherfucker I know.
It didn't work for him.
And it's funny because he'll joke about it. He'll be like, yeah, he's like, I'm still this short. Like I did growth hormone for like real deal growth hormone for like 3 years. Like he's like, I gained like 3 inches.
That sucks.
Like,
well, I mean, the good news for the high school kid is it's probably fake. So like he is definitely crazy, but he's probably not messing himself up.
like I hope he's not messing himself up. But like, what are you willing to inject in yourself at 16 years old, man? Like that's a lot, you know?
He's from India. He died at 23.
Oh, that's
terrible.
I feel like tiny little people like that, they're not made for this world for a long time, you know?
Yeah, no. And you know, same thing in the polar opposite. People that have like gargantuanism,
Oh, yeah.
like they're not
Yep.
gonna like make it as
No.
long either. It's just not
Think about the difference in sizes of hearts for a little tiny person versus the big giant person.
right.
That little guy's heart's like the size of an eraser.
Yeah, and then
The giant people's heart's like the size of a fucking pepperoni
grapefruit.
pizza.
Yeah, pepperoni pizza. It's a lot of grease flowing. So I don't even know what to say about this one. Like, this isn't even really a question. This is more of a cry for help. How do we reach? How would PJ reach out to your little brother? Does he have? Is he got like a blue check on Instagram? Is he like what's? To be 16 and playing football good enough that your coach is like, hey, you know.
When this comes out on the podcast, he's got to show it to him, or when the YouTube video comes out, you just go to this part in the video.
All right, so if he's going to show it to him, we need to do a real serious stir and look into the camera and be like, hey, you quit doing that shit.
Beat up that kid that's selling it to you, too.
You quit doing that shit. That's not good. All right, next question.
What do you think of this shirt, by the way? People watching.
Pretty,
Will it be out yet by the time this, no. All right.
Nah, dude. Come on.
I grew out of my regular size.
We also have some sweet new shirt ideas on the way. We won't disclose those, but we have been thinking all weekend. All right, next one is about SARMS. It says, hi, guys. I'm 40, 5'11", never worked out much before. I'm almost 1 year going to the gym now here in Boston. I started at 163 pounds, and for the last three, I started on SARMS, and I'm on the last month and going to start PCT.
3 months.
I've been watching some of your videos and definitely going to work with your products. I was chatting with one of your guys, and they recommend these two that I saw the videos, and I was answering if they combine with the other, a Brutal Force and Eradicate. The two I saw at the videos, and I was answering if they combine with the others, Gear Support, Evaporate, and PCT for afterwards. I'm very comfortable with my weight, and I just need to lose some abdominal fat and get more resistance when it comes to bench press. If anything that you guys can help, please let me know. Thank you.
Well, the Brutal Force and Eradicate stack great together, and they will absolutely help your bench press. The Gear Support should be taken year-round, and Evaporate is to cut water weight. So if you're not trying to cut water weight, then you're not going to want to take it. But
and then PCT for afterwards. You got
the
that part
PCT
down.
on any of the pros you have to take. So Brute Force, Abnormal, Chosen One, Methaquad, like you've got to take the PCT no matter what. It's not a bad idea when you go off those to take Apex Male too.
Next one comes from Austin. He says, what's up, boss man? One of the Legion members here, Austin 0983. What's up, brother?
What up?
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me be a part of the team. It's truly an incredible feeling being a part of a supplement company whose products I truly believe in. I've been a part of 2 other companies and can honestly say I like how they're managed much more, and I feel like I'm valued as part of the team, so thanks for that. Now for the question. I saw your post you recently did with Alex about the post-comp IV hydration. My next show isn't until October 20th, Classic Physique, but I'm curious what you might recommend for a post-comp hydration. I know a place up here in Charlotte that does them, but I've got absolutely no clue where to start. I've combed through Instagram posts as well as podcasts, and I'm sure I might have missed an answer to this question. Hopefully I can get your take on it. Thanks, man. Peace out. Bye. Austin Phillips. Start with water.
So, Cappy Cap was a star in that video, by the way.
Old slappy cappy nappy pappy.
Forgot his name for a minute. The most important thing that you do after a show, because you can hydrate yourself on your own. You don't need to do it through an IV, although you're going to rapidly hydrate yourself through an IV. Nothing is going to replace the fact that you have to drink lots of water. But you're definitely going to want to do the glutathione. You can get a push of glutathione, or you can get it in a bag, and it should be added into the end. Whenever we do any of the videos with Liquivita, Live Renew, we always talk about how you've got to add the glutathione at the end, not let it sit in there, because if it sits in that solution, the high doses of vitamin C and stuff are going to kill it. So after the show, usually you're at your weakest and typically most unhealthy. And if you did this show assisted, as I like to call it, you're probably using some oral assistance.
I thought you were talking about like crutches.
And those things are the ones that are the hardest on your insides, and that's where the glutathione really comes into play to wipe that stuff out. Now, as for the hydration goes, it all starts with saline solution. And where it goes from there is really depending on the company that's making the products for these centers. Some of them have a little bit of vitamins. Some of them have a lot. Some of them have tons of amino acids. It really depends. But it all starts with saline solution, which is what's going to hydrate you. So you don't have to worry so much about what bag you're getting. If it's a financial thing, pay for the glutathione and don't worry about the other stuff.
All right, next one comes again from Fluff Daddy. I think there was another one from him.
Fluff Daddy.
2 questions back. Says, my lord PJ, 2 questions. For someone following a ketogenic diet for weight loss, is there any benefit to using any kind of creatine product or even a laxagenin product like Anogenin Anogenin 20.
Yep.
He actually put it on there.
Good man.
Which is like,
that's a listener right there.
Man, you're like writing into the script for us.
Must know Mike Peskin.
For losing fat and building muscle. Also, being the president and CEO of Blackstone Labs has to come with all kinds of stress. How do you effectively manage stress and the cortisol rise that comes with it, or do you? Haha. I'm just not looking to do bong rips or feed the geese every time I feel stressed.
I'm always feeding the geese. It's the only thing that truly helps year round when it comes to stress. Feeding all sorts of geese, flogging dolphins,
All of them.
punching clowns out.
Are they like Canadian flying geese?
Mine don't fly too far.
No.
Mine are like collapsing geese. They trip, my geese.
So following a ketogenic diet, should you use creatine or even laxogenin?
They both have their place in any diet. That doesn't what you're eating doesn't change the effect of what they do for your muscles. So yes, they're both good.
Stress management.
If you are in a ketogenic diet, you'd probably benefit a lot from creatine because it's going to hold water into your muscles more because you don't have anything really other than sodium holding any water in you now. So now you have something that's going to help with that. You'll be more explosive in the gym. Stress management. Well, I can tell you that during my divorce, which was the most stressful thing of all time, I also had to deal with the second most stressful thing of all time, which was the FDA raid. And that shit was managed by copious amounts of vodka. And I do not recommend that for anyone. And I almost friggin' killed myself. I was the most unhealthy I've ever been. And you can see it in the old videos. Your Lord was looking fat and disheveled and ugly. An ugly fucking slob.
And now we're wearing Champion Blackstone shirts.
No, I would not be. I would be wearing, what I would be wearing would probably be like a double extra large Champion sweatshirt, just hiding the disgustingness underneath. Now I'm in a tight ass. You guys see? I'm in a tight ass t-shirt. So I'm back. It's a fucking schmedium. And all jokes aside, don't turn to booze. If you like weed, by all means smoke weed. There's nothing bad about weed. There really isn't. And I don't smoke weed, but I still support it. And I'm glad that medically it's something that people can get easier and easier now. Florida hopefully won't be too far behind because I know my parents are like 30, 40-year burners now.
They'll be doing bong rips for breakfast.
Forever. I wish that it had that effect on me. I've tried all sorts of weed from all sorts of weed smokers. And I don't know, it just makes me paranoid.
And I do
a little bit of a hit.
I like a little bit, but then the second time it just sends me into outer space.
I start thinking that all the police are coming for me, and there's not even any police around. Well, they're still coming.
I'm looking out the front blinds. I'm asking myself, what am I doing here?
I saw a UFO one night.
Oh my!
They were trying to abduct me.
You guys are from Boca.
They knew that I was on the weed. You guys are from Boca.
All right, this last question, actually, we're going to ask.
Honestly, though, this is true. When you have an orgasm as a man, you release prolactin, and you also get a sense of a calmness that comes over you. And when you're stressed out, if you're not going to have sex, or maybe you're too stressed out to have sex, seriously, go jerk off. It will help you. It'll mellow you out.
And not just that, but when you jerk off instead of having sex, that calmness you get afterwards isn't immediately interrupted by somebody talking.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or crying.
Oh, that's just bad,
You guys.
There's nothing good about that. Jim Tim and the Tuck Tuck Woohoo. Your ride's outside.
It's cute. It's got only 3 wheels,
You guys want to go and have an adventure? We're going to have Jim with the Tuck Tuck Woohoo drive you up to the dark park up here and have you talk about the bridge with the minnows.
I've heard the ghost stories, but I don't know. I've never seen one myself, but I don't.
What room are you in?
We need to get Jim Tim on the show.
So, I don't know. I don't think we have time to go into Jim Tim. I think we might have to save it for the next one. So we'll just go into the last question.
All right, we'll save Jim Tim for the next one. I know you guys want to know about Minnesota.
You're going to have to wait.
There are some funny people like Jim Tim that we met, and everyone really does talk like this, guys. If there's any listeners from Minnesota, you're probably really confused at who these Minnesotians are hosting the show this week.
Because we're definitely going to have to get Jim Tim.
Yo, shout out to Stillwater, Minnesota, by the way.
Yeah, if you live nearby or have been to Stillwater, you probably know what we're talking about with the bridges and the Tuck Tuck Woohoo.
It's like Crystal Lake.
There's a very nice man out there that runs a 3-wheel free ride service to taxi around drunk folks from bar to bar and take you to sightseeing spots and things like that. And he doesn't charge you any money.
Nope.
Just wants to give you a good time.
He does it for humanity.
He's trying to save the world.
You know, I won a good idea contest with this, and I've been just going with it ever since.
Yep. So the last question here is about crazy sex stories, which we obviously have a lot of these. Says, hey, PJ, I love the show, and I always look forward to listening to it. My question is, what are some of the craziest or funniest sex stories you've had? Just thought this might be a fun topic. Sincerely, Derek. And Derek, sincerely, we're going to answer your question in depth on the next one. So you guys will have to tune in for our very first cliffhanger.
We love sex stuff. But we know that this one is going to probably take a long time. And we wanted to hustle this in an hour, which I think we did.
Yep.
Trevor's got to be someplace. We all got to be someplace. Wanted to make sure we got the podcast out because we missed it last week. That is a question that just simply cannot be done in 2 minutes.
Nope. So until next time.
We'll kick off the next show with the sex
We'll
question.
kick off the next one with
We're
your
gonna
question,
bring
Derek.
dildos and butt plugs and shit, too.
You know,
Leave 'em. We're going to move all this and replace it with sex toys, fleshlights,
fleshlights.
lube.
I don't know
Butt
what
paste.
fleshlights. I've never seen one in person.
You know, I've never seen a fleshlight in person too, and I was like super tempted to get one just because I wanted to see. Like, I think it'd be funny just to be like, hey, I used a fleshlight, and like it does feel like a vagina. But I feel like I would also be like creeped out, like coming inside this fucking flashlight.
Yeah. No, I can't. I've never been able to get down with it until they started advertising those ones that like they're 3D mapped like a porn star's vagina, and I'm like, hey. At least there's a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
You know, not that I would buy one, but if somebody like really likes a specific porn star, you know, do your thing.
I feel like that's something that you don't need to reinvent the wheel on either. You know, like just jerk off the way that everybody else does.
Yeah.
For me, like I don't want to come inside a flashlight that I gotta clean when I can just go on the floor and I know my cleaning lady's gonna get it twice a week. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So we were talking about this not that long ago, and apparently Dave knows that you empty it out after every use, but Vlad was like, oh, I just let it build up in there for a couple of weeks.
Really?
I was like, Vlad, doesn't that get like nasty there? He's like, oh yeah, it definitely grows mold.
Oh my
God. I was
God.
like, oh,
why?
bro, what are you doing? So your crazy sex stories.
I know all the girls that I know, they boil their dildos and shit. Like they keep them shit sanitized as fuck.
Well, we've got more crazy sex stories coming for you on the next episode. You'll have to tune in. Peace out. Bye.
Peace out, bye.